Alright guys, welcome back in. We got the first NFL DFS video. That's right, week 1 is finally here. We killed it in the preseason. We're going to look to kill it in the first week of the NFL season. Normally that's one of our best weeks as well. We normally dominate in the preseason, then dominate at the start of the season. That's because we have all that information that we've acquired throughout the year, and it's just readily available, and we know who to take advantage of, which players are at a value. And a lot of the times people will try to play this week, and that creates a lot of opportunities for us as DFS players. So we're going to look forward to this slate. It's going to be a good one. Got some really good picks. Let's start off here with the quarterbacks. All right, let's start it off with the quarterbacks here. We're going to go with the best quarterback in the game. That's right, we're going to start off with quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Now, he is priced up a little bit. I typically don't like to pay up for quarterbacks, but, you know, he is a consistent quarterback. Last year, he didn't play the whole season, but he played 6 games. And 4 out of 6 of those games, he scored over 21 fantasy points per game. And in all of his starts, he had over 16.5 fantasy points per game. Last year against Chicago, he also had 23 points. He kind of just tears up the Bears when he plays them, so I do like him. If you're going to pay up, that's going to be the one I'm going for. A lot of people are going to be paying up for Brady or going with Watson. I don't mind that, but I think those defenses are going to be a lot better. A lot of people are going to be remembering that game from last year where the total of the score was just so high, and both the teams went up, and a lot of people are going to be stacking that game. I'm going to be staying away from that game. I'm going to be going with quarterback Matthew Stafford as my second quarterback. He was the only quarterback last year to get over 10 fantasy points in all 16 starts last year, so I do like him. He's going up against the Jets that finished 30th last year at that position rank against quarterbacks, and in the preseason they actually were 21st. So that kind of tells me that they haven't gotten that much better on defense. Heck, they probably haven't gotten better at all. So I like Stafford as well. I think he'll get you around 20 fantasy points. The 2 quarterbacks that we touched on are going to be lower tier quarterbacks. I really do like Ryan Tannehill in the matchup against the Tennessee Titans. I think this is going to be a shootout. I really do like Tannehill. He's one of those consistent quarterbacks. I do think he'll probably get you at least 3x at that salary. That's not too bad. I do see him getting around 18 fantasy points. So, and just overall, that Titans defense, they've been the worst in the preseason so far. And Tannehill looks sharp. He's going against the Ravens, who actually do have a pretty good defense. And the 3rd week of the preseason, he had 9 DK points in 1 quarter. I mean, he just looks sharp. And then going really low, going to go with quarterback Nathan Peterman for the Bills. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been praising him. I really do like Peterman as a quarterback. He had that rough start that everyone remembers against the Chargers with his 5 picks. What they forget about is kind of what he's shown on film in the preseason last year and this year, and his other time on the field last year. Besides the Chargers games, he's looked good. I don't mind him. He looked good over this last preseason. He had 80% completion percentage. He had 477 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 pick this preseason. So I do like that. And just at this salary, I could definitely see him gain 4x. So I don't mind that. If you're going to be going cheap, I don't mind paying down for quarterback to stack up on some studs later on in this video. Alright, now time to get into the running backs for this slate. The first one I'm going to start off with is going to be David Johnson. Obviously, he got injured the first game last year, but I think he's going to bounce back. He's looked pretty good in the preseason so far. Looks like they're trying to get him involved like they did last year as well. If you look at his matchup against Washington, it's a matchup that I think we can exploit. They look like they had a pretty poor run defense in the preseason as well. They ranked 3rd to last. So I do like that matchup. Also, Kareem Hunt. In 2 games against the Los Angeles Chargers, he averaged 35.5 DK points. So, that's tough to avoid. And I do think he's got a nice safe floor for you, so he won't be a guy that's going to bust the slate for you, so I do like him. Look for him to get about 20 DK points this week. And then Kenyon Drake, this is going to be more of a stacking option for the game. I think you could possibly actually stack him with Ryan Tannehill and then Danny Amendola, which I'll touch on in a second. But I also do like Derrick Henry coming back as a stacking option as well. And then Christian McCaffrey, I think that's just going to be such a safe play for you. You look at what he did. If you take all of his work throughout the preseason, he would have had 32 DK points throughout that full game. So that's just kind of crazy. If he played a full game throughout the preseason, you take all that work accumulated, he would have had 32 DK points, which is, that's crazy. Obviously he's not going to do that well, but They're trying to get him the ball. They're going to give him about 16 touches per game. He's going to catch about 5 catches per game. So I'd like that. It's a nice safe floor. And at that price, I'm not going to be avoiding that. Getting to the running backs, though, I think Carlos Hyde's too cheap. He's a starter for that offense. Also, Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting running back Peyton Barber, he's a little bit too cheap. Don't really like that matchup, though. Jordan Wilkins has a decent matchup. He could do pretty well, but I'm mostly going to be avoiding him, I think. But he is pretty cheap, so if you want to go there, you could. Like I said earlier, I do really like Derrick Henry. I don't think the Miami Dolphins had that good of a defense. So that is something you could exploit there. And then James Conner, I want to throw him in there as well, because if Le'Veon Bell is out, I do think James Conner is going to be a nice, safe play for you. I mean, he's going to be like a lock to get 12 DK points. So if Le'Veon Bell is sitting, I'm definitely playing James Conner. All right, let's get into the receivers. I touched on Danny Amendola a little bit. I just really like that matchup, and I do think it is one that you can exploit. I really think this is a game that you should be stacking. I really do like Calvin Benjamin as well as a nice stacking option for Nathan Peterman. They're both just really cheap. I mean, you look at that stack right there, that's going to be 9.2K for that stack going against Baltimore, and Baltimore's without Jimmy Smith, so they're not going to be as good on defense. So I really do like that option. That's a nice, cheap, safe floor. Calvin Benjamin's the only target in town there, and Nathan Peterman really likes to target him, so I think I'm going to be dipping into that well this week. You could also go with Jarvis Landry. He has a nice, safe floor, especially without Josh Gordon in that offense right now this week. He's not supposed to start. Josh Gordon isn't, so that's why I really like Jarvis Landry. And then Brandon Cooks, he's going to be more of a turn option, but I don't mind him this week as well. Some other players you could go with are going to be Mike Wallace. He's a little bit too cheap. The receiver number 1 for the Jets, most people don't know it, but it's Quincy Enunwa, so I don't mind that, especially they're probably going to be playing from behind, going against the Lions there. I think the Lions D is someone you could target. I'll touch on that a little bit. D.D. Westbrook, he's the guy I like the most in Jacksonville. He's definitely too cheap. Tyreek Hill, I do like him again. He just has a nice, safe floor. They're trying to feature him a lot, kind of like Christian McCaffrey, but for receivers. Then Philip Dorsett, he's the receiver number 2 for the New England Patriots. You never know kind of what their scheme is going to be, so I don't mind him. Then Antonio Brown, just going against Cleveland. He kind of, historically, he tears them up, so I don't mind that. Really not bad options, though, for you overall with those wideouts. You could go cheaper if you want to, but this is going to be my core for this week. All right, getting into the tight end plays. Really, this week, I think it's going to be me, Gronk, or nothing. I just think he's got a nice safe floor, and on this slate this week, I think you can actually fit him into your lineups pretty easily, so I don't mind that. But if you did want to go cheaper, I think Jack Doyle is going to be a nice safe floor for you. Probably looking around 8 DK points to 10 DK points. The matchup's not the best, but Andrew Luck likes him a lot. Ricky Seals-Jones, this guy I got in a lot of my drafts, so I think you could go with him potentially, so I don't mind that pick at all. Then also Nick Vannett. He's just got a really easy matchup going against the Denver Broncos. Really, with him, you're just trying to predict a touchdown, so I do not mind that option with him. All right, last thing I want to touch on is going to be the defenses. Typically, I won't really focus on these too much because I feel like most people have a solid feel for who they want to play defensively each week. But if you don't believe in Nathan Peterman, you definitely should be playing the Baltimore Ravens. I do think the Green Bay Packers, their defense, I think is kind of going to be more like the Eagles last year, where they give up a lot of yards, but they also get a lot of turnovers. And going against the Bears, Trubisky hasn't really shown me that much just yet, so I think that is maybe something we can exploit there. The Los Angeles Chargers, you look at Patrick Mahomes, he's actually seems like a really turnover-prone type of quarterback, so where they might give up a lot of points, a couple of big plays here, I think they might have a lot of sacks and a few turnovers. And the Detroit Lions are going to be my favorite defense, going against Sam Darnold in his first NFL start with the Jets. There just doesn't seem to be that much chemistry so far in that offense. You look at Crowell and Powell, they haven't really got that much time on the playing field with Darnold. Nunwa, Robbie Anderson, and Terrell Pryor, they haven't really got that much time together, so the chemistry is going to be off there. I'm really going to be targeting the Detroit Lions defensively, and they're a little bit too cheap. Yes, that's a Monday night game, so that doesn't really help you on the Sunday slate. So on the Sunday slate, I think you go with the Chargers. All right, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please give me a like and subscribe. I appreciate it.